What y'all say in DC? I'm Sice. The Redskins killed this first round of the 2019 draft. I'm so proud of the moves we made. But what is going on with all of this first round talent we've acquired in the past 3 years? I'm about to give my first round draft, grade, and analysis. And then I'm going to talk about what has been going on for the past few years with how we've been acquiring talent. Let's get it. Hail to the Redskins. I turned off the TV and last night's stream with a big smile on my face. Bruce Allen is out here acquiring real talent, draft and free agency. He's out here GMing for his life as of late. I'm going to get deeper into that later because right now, what about this draft? First of all, when the Raiders reached on Clelin Ferrell, I laughed pretty hard about it. Then the Giants mega reach for Daniel Jones and I almost cried tears of joy. And my stomach almost hurt from laughing. Twitter been eating them alive since last night. And then I was nervous all the way to the 15th pick. The stress was crazy. And then we got to the 15th pick and Brian Burns, DK Metcalf, Greedy Williams, AJ Brown, Montez Sweat, and Haskins and Locke were available. I was so scared we were going to fold and take somebody like Drew Lock or some random reach of a prospect. I was super nervous. And then who did we take? Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins. My comp for him is a slightly less mobile and less aggressive Ben Roethlisberger, but far better intangibles and personality, without a doubt. And first of all, did y'all know that he was charging people $50 to join him at the draft party? My boy Haskins is different. He wasn't even talking to people like that. He was on his phone with his headphones on most of the time I saw him. $50? That's a hustler right there. I love it. And he's motivated. He was clearly upset about when he got picked, when he said, quote, "the league done messed up," unquote. The man did not expect to slide that far. He especially, along with most of us, did not expect to be picked after Daniel Jones, especially 9 picks afterwards. With all of those quarterback needy teams in between, this man is going to play his heart out in general. But when he plays the Giants, that man is going to be on a different type of time. LaDainian Tomlinson just said today that Dwayne Haskins is going to kick the crap out of the Giants for the next 10 years. That's his quote too. But to be honest, I wasn't very excited about the Haskins pick originally. I wanted Brian Burns so bad. But we got somebody with a higher ceiling than him later on, and I'll talk about that soon. But back to Haskins. When we initially took him, I wasn't the most excited guy out here doing it, but I was happy. Mostly because I like the 2020 crop of quarterbacks and Trevor Lawrence more. But that is great value for getting them that far. And I highly doubt next year's quarterbacks will make it to the 15th overall pick. Like none of them. So we were able to get Big Ben with the 15th overall pick. No trading up. No selling our soul to get him. And he has a lot of potential. I don't understand this he can't run an NFL offense stigma he has. Ohio State ran concepts very similar to ours. Like exact same plays, and literally the only difference is what each team calls them. Same routes and reads and all of that. So please quiet that noise. Also, how can he not run an NFL offense in the Big Ten against some of the best defenses in colleges that he killed? But Daniel Jones, who had a negative record at Duke, against ACC talent can? What? Y'all trolling at this point. Some of these NFL analysts are just trying to make stuff up. But back to Haskins. Like I said, he can easily transition to an NFL offense, especially ours. He is smart and very accurate, has a big arm, definitely bigger than Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith's, easily bigger. He can already progress through reads and not stare down quarterbacks, which is one of the hardest things for quarterbacks to pick up. That's the main reason a lot of quarterbacks need a year or two to sit on the bench behind another quarterback after getting drafted before they can start. Haskins already has that down pat. All of the problems I have with him stem from his lack of experience. He only started 1 year, so he's expected to have some cracks in his game, obviously. But they can all be fixed. I hate how passive he is, and Jay Gruden will too, but it's fixable. And even with how passive he was in college, he still led the FBS in yards and touchdowns last year. He sometimes looked flustered under pressure, but the Redskins offensive line, when healthy, can easily be top 10, can be top 5, so he should be good there. But He can also improve on this decision making when under pressure with coaching and time. That's another flaw that comes from his lack of experience and can be fixed. And even though he has good pocket awareness, his footwork needs some improvement. But like I said, a lot of these problems would have already been fixed if he was able to play more than just 1 year. So as of right now, I'm judging him with the assumption that he can definitely fix these problems that he has in his game. But I really like his big arm and accuracy from short to deep and his decision making. And now we actually have a quarterback that can get the ball to a Deshaun Jackson type of player. Full speed. Too bad we just don't have Deshaun Jackson right now. Unless Paul Richardson steps up and becomes that speed demon. We'll see though. And then there's our second round pick. The one I'm most excited for. Edge rusher Montez Sweat out of Mississippi State. We did it. We got our edge rusher. The organization wanted their quarterback, and a lot of y'all wanted the quarterback. But a lot of us football heads really wanted the edge rusher. He has a great first step. Not elite off the ball, but with his 4.41 40 time at 260 pounds and 35 3/4 inch arms, his ball get off is more than enough to dominate offensive tackles. And then his hands are powerful and has some good technique with a high motor. He has good timing with his punches and constantly fights to beat the blocker that's in front of him. Get him out of the way. He has great counters for when his initial move doesn't work. So he's the complete package. But his athleticism is why his ceiling is so high. His only lacking quality physically is his lack of flexibility. His bend is good, but not as good/great as somebody like Brian Burns. But it's good enough to bend to the quarterback once he's slightly past the blocker. It's not terrible. It's not bad. It's just not elite like a Brian Burns. But Montez's burst, speed, and length are unmatched. Like I mentioned earlier, just a second ago, he is 6'6", 260 pounds, and may get bigger. Has 35 3/4 inch arms, which is almost a full 2 inches longer than Brian Burns's. And he ran a 4.41 40 time. That's the fastest 40 time from a defensive lineman at the combine since 2003, y'all. He ran a much faster 40 time than Brian Burns, but with at least 10 more pounds on him too. That's crazy. And don't forget, Sweat is one of the only 2 pass rushers in the FBS to have 10+ sacks in each of the last 2 seasons. And he's joining a team that was already 7th in sacks last year, who had Preston Smith, who could generate pressures all day but couldn't finish. We finally have a guy who can finish. I like Montez Sweat way more than Preston Smith. I feel like Preston Smith is his floor, honestly. And then also in the run game, he is a great edge setter. A monster against the run. A lot of strength and length. He can handle 2 gap responsibilities. He can attack offensive linemen, analyze what's going on, and then shed to make the tackle easily. That's his bread and butter. I liked Brian Burns more for the 15th pick because he was a safer pick and was way more of a dynamic pass rush specialist like a Von Miller or Khalil Mack that I wanted. But Montez Sweat definitely fits our nickel packages way better when we have 4 defensive linemen. It was Preston Smith, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Ryan Kerrigan. He will replace Preston Smith beautifully. But he's also athletic enough to be a 3-4 outside linebacker and get to the quarterback. Definitely better than what Preston Smith could do. But the run defense and his fit for the nickel packages we run is why, even though Brian Burns has a very high ceiling, Montez Sweat's is even higher, especially with him already being a great run stopper. And even though Brian Burns is laterally quicker and can cover better, Montez was supposed to go top 10 pick easily for a reason, ahead of Brian Burns. But sadly for Sweat, he was rumored to have a bad heart condition, but it was recently reported that his heart condition was misdiagnosed. And plus, even if he had some heart condition, he was still dominating in the SEC with it. But even better for us, he doesn't have a heart condition like what was previously reported. So this is a huge draft steal. Easily the biggest steal of the draft yesterday. Easily. From automatic top 10 pick to 26th overall. And I love how the Redskins traded up to get him. Jay Gruden and the grimy Redskins front office traded up in front of John Gruden, Jay Gruden's brother, and the Raiders to take who everybody knew the Raiders were planning on getting, Montez Sweat. Just grimy. Business and competition before helping out a family member. Love it. But this leads me to how the Redskins have been finessing the draft lately. And do I dare say cheat in the draft? Walk with me real quick. I got to show y'all something. How are we doing this? We've now acquired 2 first-round talents in the last 3 drafts each. Jonathan Allen was literally the best defensive player in college before he was drafted. And then people came out of nowhere talking about arthritis. Arthritis? Like what? And even if he did have arthritis, he was still the most dominant defensive player in college with it. And he's still dominating in the NFL. Allen was easily supposed to go top 10. Reuben Foster was considered one of the 5 best inside linebacker prospects coming out of college in at least the past 7 years. And he fell all the way to the 31st pick in the first round due to both off the field red flags and medical red flags. And the Redskins just picked him up for free off waivers. And his rookie season in San Francisco was great. Pro Football Focus gave him the best run stopping grade amongst all inside linebackers. Not just the rookies, all of them. That's including Luke Kuechly, all of them. And that was Reuben Foster's rookie season. And then in 2018, we filled a huge need with the very underrated Daron Payne, who many thought couldn't rush the passer. But it was because Nick Saban didn't let his D-line do it. Not until the playoffs in the championship game when he let Daron Payne loose and he dominated against my Bulldogs, of course, too. Nick Saban's a hater for that one. But Daron Payne was a great get. I really wanted Derwin James, who was available, but we ended up getting Landon Collins later on, so it super worked out for us. We got both needs filled, strong safety, and nose tackle, defensive tackle, run stopper, all of that. And then we went and got the second best running back in the class, Darius Geis, deep into the second round. He was available with our first second-round pick, but then we traded back and still got him. Many smart draft people actually liked him more than Saquon Barkley, mostly because of mechanics though. And we got him deep in the second round. Just like Jonathan Allen and Reuben Foster the year before, Redskins Nation was torn between getting both of them with our first-round pick, and we ended up getting both of them. That's crazy. And then again, this year, 2019 draft, Redskins Nation split between getting wide receiver, edge rusher, and quarterback with our 15th overall pick. And what the Redskins do? Get a top 10 talent and quarterback Dwayne Haskins without trading up. And then traded up into the first round to get a top 3 edge rusher in this class. He was the 6th one chosen. So 2 top 10 talents picked up with the 15th and 26th overall picks. And wide receivers like A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Kelvin Harmon, Hakeem Butler, Deebo Samuel, and Riley Ridley are all still available. So we can still fill our wide receiver need with a big playmaker, dependable guy in the 3rd round. Or maybe we trade up to the 2nd to get one. I mean, it's just crazy. And when you really look at the talent we've acquired the past few years, they all relate to some random rumors that popped up right before the draft or during the draft. Jonathan Allen's arthritis came out of nowhere and let him slide to us. Darius Geis's character issues super came out of nowhere and never ever had any evidence or proof behind them. We got him late in the 2nd. Montez Sweat's heart condition came out of nowhere and was pretty much made up because now doctors are saying that it was misdiagnosed. So I'm really starting to get a feeling that the Redskins front office are the ones putting these rumors out here so that we can get top 5, top 10 talents way later than we're supposed to. Like, when you really sit back and look at all of it and analyze it, like, how are the Redskins not the ones starting these rumors? Like, how are we this lucky to always be the ones benefiting from them? I'm a little suspicious of it, I'm not gonna lie. But either way, I'm very thankful, very excited. I give this first round an A grade. Only reason it's not an A+ is because that grade is only given out for legendary drafts. Like, it has to be just ridiculous. Twitter has to be spazzing over it. This is great and way better than what I expected or even really asked for, but it's still not the greatest draft of all time. I leave an A+ grade for the greatest to ever do it. But this is as good as it gets with a realistic lens. This is definitely an A. I wish Haskins was more mobile and aggressive, and I wish Sweat was more flexible and had more bend, but other than that, I have no complaints. None. A grade so far, and we have some chances to do some more damage today and tomorrow in the draft. Oh, and real quick, who I hope we get today, who I hope the Redskins picks in the 2nd round and 3rd rounds if we can trade up to the 2nd. Just real quick to run it through, I love wide receivers A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, and Riley Ridley. I like the other guys, but those 3 that I just named are dreams come true to me. Also, safety Nasir Adderley is literally the best safety in this draft. And if we can somehow get him, trade up for him, whatever we got to do, that would literally be my favorite pick of this entire draft. Even more than Montez Sweat, I'm sorry. And then safety Deontay Thompson has a high ceiling and a lot of great traits and rare talent. So I would love to get him too. Also, the offensive tackle with the most upside, Jawan Taylor, is still available for some odd reason. There were so many tackles and offensive linemen in general taken before him. And Cody Ford, who I thought was definitely the best guard coming into this draft period, is still available. So any combination of those 7 names, even though tackle isn't our biggest need yet, would be a dream come true. So like if we could trade up in the second, get Nasir Adderley, and then use our later 3rd round pick to get like Riley Ridley, I would faint. I would spaz. And don't forget my boy Isaac Nada in like the 4th or 5th round. Yes, sir. But that's it for this off-season episode of Redskins Report. Thanks for the view. I'm going to keep bringing y'all occasional updates on the Redskins year round. I'm going to bring y'all a big 7-round draft review. And I'm also, of course, going to bring y'all film sessions on every player we draft and maybe even some undrafted free agents if I have time. You know how I did it last year with the 20 to 30 minute film session breakdowns, pausing, rewinding, all of that. We're getting to the X's and O's. These are not highlights. And make sure y'all get in the comments and let me know how y'all feel about the Redskins draft picks so far. And who do y'all want with the draft picks we still have available? Also, make sure y'all Dolomite fake punch that like button, favorite, subscribe, I'll subscribe back, and most importantly, comment and share. And again, thank y'all for the support. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.